You know, Thomas Banks is someone that you just have to hear him talk and you can't help but laugh because whatever he says is gold. And I'm glad to have you here, Thomas. I know normally this is one of these weird cold intros where I normally would just give a whole backstory, but I feel like we would end up wasting all the good stuff. And so we're just going to get into it. How are you today, Thomas?
I'm doing well, Earl. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing absolutely great. I always tell people that every day above ground's a good one. And nowadays, you know, we're losing people so quickly. You just never know how short things are.
Yes, sir. That's very, very true, man. Very true. Very blessed to be where I am and air in my body. And every day I'm able to wake up and look outside and this nice weather I got and everything is peaches and cream, man.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, I know there's a million things I want to talk to you about, and hopefully I can get as much in as I can, but you now live in Florida, and you originally lived in Maryland. We went to high school together, Snow High School, went to the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore. What was the biggest transition, like lifestyle-wise, from moving from Maryland to Florida?
Definitely it was a big culture shock when you move down to Florida, especially the area I'm in. It's more or less, it was a little town. I'm not in there now, but when I hit Florida, it was a little town, like I said, called Immokalee, Florida. It was just a big culture shock because, like I said, the only thing that was down here is, you know, you got a lot of Spanish, you got a lot of Haitians, but very nice people, don't get me wrong, but it's almost like looking at a third world country when you got down here. You didn't have good-looking people down here, man. They were all ugly people, man.
I guess what is the comparing Florida to Maryland again? I guess where we're at, Snow Hill, we lived maybe a half an hour from the beach, and I assume in Florida you're so close to the beach that you probably end up getting tired of it.
Yeah, I've never been a beach guy. When I came down here, man, that's all that you hear, man. But there's a place called Fort Myers Beach, Florida. It's pretty nice, you know. I always enjoy going to the beach at nighttime because down here, man, in Florida, you get real hot real quick, and then beaches are not that good looking down here. They're not like Ocean City. You know, Ocean City is, you know, you have the boardwalk, then you have if you want to go take the amusement park rides, you can do things like that. But here it's just you got sand and there's no entertainment out on the beach at all. It's almost, and I always tell when I run into people, I'm like, you know, this beach has nothing on the beach I grew up home with. I mean, the only thing that you're really enjoying in Florida is the weather, but that's why a lot of people come down because it's sunshine, to get tired of the snow. But the beaches down here really isn't that great. I mean, there's a couple of beaches, Bonita Springs and Naples Beach, but the area I'm in, it's Fort Myers Beach, and it's not that great. But it is what it is, man. It's not that great down here, man, with the beaches, man, believe it or not. Unless you go to Miami. Now, you go to Miami, you got some nice beaches there, and plus you got some good scenery. You know, you got some nudie beaches down in Miami, man.
When I think of Fort Myers, I just think of spring training because that's the place where a lot of those teams play. And I think that whole coastal area and all that, Sarasota and all that other stuff is a big haven for tourists and spring training because other than Arizona.
Oh, yeah. Well, believe it or not, there's a lot of celebrities that come down here to the beach. I ran into the guy from New Orleans, the quarterback, Drew Brees. I met Mr. Drew Brees right here on Fort Myers Beach. I didn't know it was him at the time, but he even knew about Fort Myers Beach. You know, a lot of these celebrities try to get away to small areas, I guess, so, you know, where a lot of people don't know him. But Drew Brees was down here. I ran to Eric Roberts, too. That's Julia Roberts' brother. He was a guy in The Dark Knight. He was also on Fort Myers Beach. Believe it or not, it gets some stars that come out here, but they're all incognito, and they don't want anybody to know that's them. But, yeah, I mean, the beaches down here, they're okay. You know, but like I said, it's overrated, I believe. You know, it's really, really overrated. I mean, don't get me wrong, Florida's nice. But like I said, you're coming down for what you're going to get, which is sunshine and rain. That's all that is. It's so flat, you know, but that's it. I do miss back home. You know, where you can go and you get your diverse seasons and you go to the beach and it's cold sometimes. You don't know. You never know. It'd be cold. It could be hot. But, you know, that's part of being on the Eastern Shore, I guess, that I miss a lot.
It's funny, just going on a quick sidebar, you mentioned Eric Roberts. It's crazy that while his sister is more popular, you've seen a lot more movies with Eric Roberts than anybody knows with Julia Roberts.
Yeah, that's true, man. I grew up looking at Best of the Best. That was one of my favorite karate movies at the time, man, with him in it. Although it was horrible, the action scenes were really, really bad, but he was a good actor. But I really took notice to him also, in 2008, of course, with The Dark Knight. He was a cool villain in that. But his sister, she did her movie Runaway Bride right at our high school, and she's always been, I guess, more successful than he has been, but he's still a good actor.
And like his daughter started to exceed him in popularity, Emma. And it's like she was in that show Scream Queens with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Which movie was she in?
I can't think of what it is. She's been in a few. Trying to think of what movie she's been in.
No, that she was, in movies like that, man.
She was in American Horror Story. She was in 3 or 4 of the seasons. American Horror Story, American Horror Story Coven, American Horror Story Freak Show. She was in that movie We're the Millers with Jennifer Aniston. Oh, she was in Scream 4.
Wow, I didn't know that at all, man.
Yeah, I'm just not really big into horror movies. I would watch them, and maybe just like the excessive blood and guts. That's sort of like was the biggest turn off.
As you know, I was a big fan of Michael Myers. Did see the new Halloween, and it was very, I should say, it was more like a tribute to the first movie because it was really good. It didn't have a lot of blood and guts or anything in that. It was more or less like pop-up scares and more of, Michael Myers being he was like the shape, and he was more like a shadow. He was moving like how they say, the unconscious mind. He was very stealth with his kills and everything. It was a very good movie the way they did it, but it was basically the first movie all over again. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think Rob Zombie did a great job with his Halloweens, the 2 that he did, but that was Rob Zombie. Rob Zombie has that personality that he has a weird personality with his things, which is good. It's him. That's who he is. But this new Halloween, I was a little disappointed, but I was okay with it because, Jamie Lee Curtis, she came back. But it was basically H2O 20 more years later. I mean, I think the guy that played Michael Myers, Jude Courtney, he did a good job. But how hard is it really to play Michael Myers? All you got to do is put on a mask and walk around like you got a wedgie all day.
What would you say is probably the dumbest horror movie you ever watched?
Oh, man. I've seen some dumb horror movies. But I think the dumbest horror movie I ever seen was this movie called Dead Alive. Bones with Snoop Dogg, man. But yeah, that movie was horrible, man. I mean, don't get me wrong, Snoop Dogg's the man, but as a horror movie villain, man, yeah, man, no, it was not my cup of tea, man. But Bones is really, really bad, man. I could not fathom to see. Now, I like Gin and Juice, man, don't get me wrong. But Bones, he's got to do some more acting on his chops, man. He was pretty bad in that movie. He reminded me of a scary pimp in that movie, man. Well, I think that's what he was, but it was horrible, man. It was absolutely horrible. Bones was pretty bad. Jason X. I don't know if you ever seen that, but I don't understand it because in Jason 10, he dies and Freddy Krueger at the end pulls him down to Hades, So then next thing you know, the next movie, he's in outer space. I don't know how that worked, man. I don't know who wrote that movie, but I mean, they just dogged it. And then he became half Jason, half cyborg. He looked like Quasimodo meet the Terminator. He looked bad, man. It was horrible, man. Like, the ideas of these horror movies now are just trash, man.
But the scene with the sleeping bag, he throws.
Yeah, what is that, man? He's beating up the sleeping bag, and then it goes with the hologram. It is trash, man. And I don't know, man. They take horror. Don't get me wrong, because we live in an age now that you can look on the internet and you can see all kinds of crazy things, man. So it's kind of hard to scare someone when they got access to the internet and they can see, oh man, there's a guy, getting beheaded, or you see a kid getting smashed, ran over by a car or something. It's sad that it's like that, but it's hard to make movies like that, man. Because we're so accustomed, we've become a generation now of being accustomed to seeing whatever you want. It's the age of the internet, man. You can see everything you want to see. Things happening in, what's going on in Italy, or what's going on in Asia, or what's going on here, or whatever. To make a horror movie in this day and age, it's pretty hard, man. And that's something that touches home more. Things that we see every day or we experience. It's just hard, man. Who's scared of Freddy Krueger anymore? A guy that come in your dreams. I'm not. I would be more scared of the ice cream man coming. Here, I got some tutti frutti for you. No, and then he kills you, man. You never know, man. This is horrible, man.
What were your thoughts on Get Out?
Get Out? Well, I thought it was a very good movie. I know there was a lot of people, when I went to the movie theater, actually, I was in Tampa when I went and saw this movie. And Tampa is almost more African-American. And there was like a couple of sprinkles of white people in this movie when I went and seen it. And it was very good. I felt bad for them because a lot of people were like, yeah, kill that. You know, they were going off, man. And, like, I mean, it was a good movie. I think Peele did a really, really good job with this movie, man. I mean, I thought it was very nostalgic. I thought it was very smart. Just from a movie standpoint, I mean, he did a really good job with it. Now, I'm interested in what he's going to do with Us. I want to definitely go see that because, like I said, that's what I mean with being just different with things. You know, you never knew or known that someone would make a movie that's saying, you know, the key to, I guess, it was in the African Americans, which we African Americans are the original people. So it's a good idea that he came up with that, you know. But even with the whole idea of, you know, they were trying to get organs from the African Americans and use it on themselves. It's all crazy, bro. But he did a good job with that movie, man. He did a real, really good job with it, man. But like I said, I'm more curious to seeing Us than anything. I think Us is going to be very, very interesting when we go see that.
And I know he's directing and hosting the new Twilight Zone too, so that sounds very interesting. And I never really thought he was going to be much of a thriller suspense guy because you look at it, you always see Key and Peele, you always see some of those stories on Key and Peele, some of those sketches, they probably have touched base with a lot of people, black or not. I look at the one where they do the acapella groups and the two guys are fighting over the acapella group.
No, yeah, he's definitely a funny guy, man. Him and that other guy, they get together, man, and I always remember watching one skit on TV with them two, and they were like, man, you rubbed my butt, man. He was like, no, I didn't, man. I pushed you. And he said, all right, man, we're going to fight on 3. And every time they would go like 1, 2, 3, he would do like some gay position, man. It was hilarious, man. Like, those guys are funny, man. But, yeah, but see, like, a lot of those guys, like, you know, like even Michael Gordon Green, you know, you didn't know he had a hand in the new Halloween movie. A lot of these comics, you know, the guys that do comedy, man, they got some dark sides to them, man. A lot of them are very talented, man. You know, like I said, he had a hand in Halloween. You never knew that he would have been, like, having a hand in Halloween. And he was like, he did This Is the End.
Oh, yeah, with Seth Rogen and all them?
Yeah, he was in that, man. And that was hilarious, man. You know, like, you just be surprised, man. Like, people are talented, man. It was a good, Get Out was very good. You know, and I kind of knew what I was walking into when I seen that movie. You know, I thought it was like very unique. Like I said, very, very different from what you've seen coming out. That's why it was so successful. You know, it was different from your hack and slash. It was more psychological than anything. You know, the beginning of the movie when I seen it, it was very. When he hit the deer got hit, man. It was like, wow, man. You could tell he had some trauma in his life, by the way. And he's a great actor. You know, the guy that was in that movie, he really sold the parts. So it was a great movie, man. Really good movie.
Yeah, and it's funny, we were just talking about, you know, the dark sides of comedians, and like, if you watch, think about this, one example, Robin Williams, think about all the characters he's played, and then you look at like 1 Hour Photo, and you look at that other one with Al Pacino and Hilary Swank, I can't think of it, what it is off the top of my head, but man, he played some really creepy characters, and it's like a huge spectrum of what he could play.
Oh, yeah, man, Robin Williams was but, you know, he was a really dark, I mean, he was suffering too, though, man. He was going through some things, man, some personal things. So, like, you know, sometimes when you get out on stage or you go into your roles at things, that's your outlet. But when you're alone, man, I think he was suffering from, like, I don't know if it's depression or, you know, a lot of them guys, man, like, and then, like, they go through things, man. But sometimes when you're doing comedy and things like that, you got to hit where sometimes it hurts. And people like to laugh at your pain, believe it or not. But, you know, that's what you do, man, to get your outlet. Another one is Jim Carrey. I don't know if you noticed Jim Carrey lately, man, but he was like, he made a movie not too long ago, The Number 23. And when he used to be The Mask, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Funny guy, man. But again, he went into a dark role with The Number 23. And then there was another movie he came out with now. Like, I didn't really get a chance to see it, but once again, he looks like he's playing a more suspenseful, dark role, you know? I don't know, man. Like, these guys, man, they're trying to express themselves on how things are going in their lives, and I don't know, man. It's it's a sad thing that happened with Robin Williams because, he was a very talented person, but it seems like I'm just waiting for Kevin Hart to do it, man.
Yeah, we were talking with Robin Williams. Yeah, the movie Insomnia. It was the movie Insomnia. Apparently, that was directed by Christopher Nolan.
Oh, really? I didn't really see that one, man. I think he was like some type of killer in that, wasn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. I was just looking at really quickly on Wikipedia. That's probably one of his dark. One other photo probably wasn't as dark, but definitely Insomnia was. Yeah, he was a killer, I think, in Alaska or something. I haven't seen the whole movie, but...
He was a cold killer.
And with Robin Williams' idea, one of the things that he had like a form of dementia that also sort of didn't help him be in his right mind as well, because he didn't know what was going on. Apparently, there's like a lot of stuff that was going on because there was like this interview that Bobcat Goldthwait did with Joe Rogan, because Bobcat Goldthwait and Robin Williams were really good friends. And it's like he didn't know with the dementia, it was like he wasn't in his right mind sometimes. There were points where he had to be in a separate room from his wife because he was having seizures to the point where it was causing a lot of issues. And he was like detached from reality from the dementia. It was like far different from, I guess, a traditional type of dementia. But now I see these commercials where people say they have dementia and they start seeing things in addition to the memory losses. And it's like you don't really know what goes on with the mind. And the mind can be such a very fragile thing. Just looking at anything from concussions to any type of medical issue that goes down the road. And I am no way near a doctor. I never played one on TV or things like that. But it's crazy how the mind is such a unique and fragile thing.
Yeah, that is very, very true, man. And then we're only using, 10% of it. Just imagine if we use our full brain, man. We would all, be probably destroyed.
And you imagine those people who are, go on Jeopardy, and if they're only using 10% of their brain, imagine if they use even just 20%, twice as much.
Yeah, I was trying to answer questions on Jeopardy the other day and got all of them wrong. I didn't know anything. I try to pretend like I knew what I was talking about. So what I do, I cheat. I put the subtitles on, and then they'll read what comes at the bottom. And then, who is such and such? Oh, how'd you know that? I said, because I know. No, I didn't know.
Sometimes you get those captions that jump ahead of the answer before.
Yeah, that's what I was doing, man.
And then you ever look at some of those captions on TV where somebody's trying to decipher what the word is, and it's something completely different.
Yeah.
Oh my God! It just sort of reminds me. Have you seen that video clip, that viral video clip of the sign language interpreter who was doing all the sign language during the Snoop concert? She's getting into it. Oh man, she was really getting into it because it was I think she was at the Firefly concert and she was really getting into the stuff. She was, it looked like she was crip walking and stuff while she was doing the sign language.
Yeah, next thing you know, she gets shot out of nowhere, gets sniped JFK style.
Oh, man. Oh, and as we were talking about comedians, I know that you had a foray in doing stand-up comedy. Was it during an open mic night, or?
Yeah, actually, I'm still doing it, man. I'm still clicking, man, with open mic nights. My first time was in Fort Myers. And I was at work one day, one of my associates came up to me, and they were like, hey, man, you're a pretty funny guy, Thomas. Why don't you try stand-up? I was like, well, I don't think I'll be that good. I don't really know what I would talk about. He said, man, just get on the stage, man, and just talk, man. Just try it, man. So I said, all right. So I went to open mic night, and then I placed first in open mic night, man. So I've been doing it every chance I can get. I sign up for it, and it's very fun, man. There's a guy that hosts it down here. His name is Flying Brian from the Freak Show. He's a radio host, and he hosts the open mic nights at this comedy club I go to. So, but I still do it, man. It's fun. When you get on stage, man, you can be whoever you want to be. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. It just so happens when I went on stage, man, the three things I was talking about was Fortnite. At the time, it was Avengers. And then, of course, you talk about the porn, man.
Did you just go off the top of your head? Did you at least have something written down, little bullet points, what you wanted to emphasize, or is it just?
Oh yeah, man. And when I went up there, when I was talking about Fortnite, man, I would get up there and I'll write down what I want to write down. You have a 10-minute skit, and then you just go from there. I know what I'm going to write about the night before. I sit down and I write, and then I go on stage and. I just memorize everything I write. I'll give you a little example. I was writing about Fortnite, where I was playing Fortnite with these group of people. And if you're ever familiar with Fortnite, you jump off of a bus. When you land, it took me a little while to land because I don't have regular internet. I have hotspot. So, about the time I landed on the ground, all my partners were dead. And then you're playing with this 4-year-old kid who's getting mad at you, cursing you out, because you don't know how to build on Fortnite. And then, like, you're getting shot up. And then they're calling your mom names and things of that nature, man. So it's like, oh, man. Like, I mean, of course, I said it a lot more funnier, but I was just giving you a brief thing of what I was talking about that. And in Avengers Infinity War, I was saying, like, how come when Thanos snapped his fingers, all the black people died first in the movie?
It's true. Drew was Vin Diesel, so he died.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Falcon died, Black Panther died, and I said even the tree. I thought we were supposed to be saving the environment.
But Don Cheadle didn't die, and he's Captain Planet.
Oh, yeah, he is Captain Planet, man. Oh, man. That guy looks scary I would go see that as a scary movie, man. Don Cheadle as Captain Planet, man. The nostrils on that man is scary, man.
Oh, man. I still think that Terrence Howard looked more like Rhodey, especially if you watch that cartoon with the one where James Avery was the voice of Rhodey.
James Avery was the voice of Shredder, man. I never knew that.
Hey, there's like this scene on YouTube called Uncle Shredder, where they basically had Shredder and they did all these Uncle Phil quotes, these serious Uncle Phil quotes. And it's just, oh man, I tell you, the internet, when they aren't being racist, mean-spirited or nothing, they can be absolutely funny, man. They can be absolutely funny.
Oh yeah, man. But that's the internet, man. Like I said, it's the age we live in, bro.
I just sort of lost my train of thought there because we were just talking about James Avery as Shredder. Oh, yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio is supposed to be directing a Captain Planet movie. Hey, when you win your Oscar, this is what happens. If you get mauled by a bear to win an Oscar.
Hey, man, Revenant was good, though, man. It was a good movie. I thought he did a really good job in that movie, but he laid down the whole movie, and he didn't really have to talk that much. He just had to sound like, he was pushing out a big one, but he did a good job playing that movie, man. Like, he got mauled by a bear, man. Did the best he could, bro. I'm pretty sure if I got mauled right now by, like, a duck or something, I would be the same way, man.
Do you think that was his best role? Because it always seems like people win Oscars for the roles that aren't their best. I had recently talked to someone about Denzel. Denzel won for a movie that was not his best role. I still thought Malcolm X was Denzel's best role. But do you think The Revenant was Leonardo DiCaprio's best role?
No, man, definitely not. I think his best role probably was definitely Titanic, man.
I thought you were going to say The Departed. I mean,
The Departed was really good. I don't know. I just look how actors first start out because they try harder. To me, they try harder when you've got to make a name for yourself. I thought he did really well in Titanic, but everything else, like the Titanic, to me, sank.
Who thought that the kid who was just brought in on growing pains would end up being the superstar and have the Oscar?
Yeah, well, he was in Gilbert Grape.
Yeah.
Man. He was the special kid in Gilbert Grape. I take that back. It takes a lot of talent to act that way, man.
I'm just thinking Tropic Thunder, where Robert Downey Jr., he starts talking about all the people who go a little extra for their roles, including I Am Sam, and how Sean Penn went home empty-handed because he went a little too extra as opposed to Dustin Hoffman, Tom Hanks, all those roles. And I guess it's true. It's a stupid thing, especially now that everybody's talking about blackface. What were your thoughts on Robert Downey Jr.'s character in Tropic Thunder? Because before you preface it, I just want to say he was making fun more of people who get into method acting instead of anything racial. They were basically making fun of Russell Crowe. I mean, Australian guy, and who would go so far into a role where he'd have the surgery and everything like that. I did not see anything offensive about the way Robert Downey Jr. portrayed his character.
I don't see anything wrong with it either. When you're an actor, man, that's what you're doing. You're acting. It doesn't matter. I mean, you look at Tyler Perry, he dresses up as a woman in Medea, and just because what Robert Downey, his persona was, he changed his skin color. Look at white chicks. I mean, white people can get mad about things like that too. Like, hey, why you got these black guys dressing up as white girls acting like us? That's not how we act or whatever. I mean, it was just for entertainment. And a lot of people take offense to certain things, unfortunately, but I think Robert Downey did a great job during that movie, man. It was funny. He sold the part. I mean, it was good. I mean, but people need to stop being so sensitive. Like, it's weird, man, because we're so sensitive to things that are so trivial, but yet we're not sensitive to, like, we walk by the street, you see a homeless guy, you rather give the dog food first than you give the homeless guy. It's sad, man. But that's where we live in now, man. Nowadays you go into the cereal aisle, you skip past the bags of cereal, man. The bag cereal, the Sugar Shocks, Now you go straight to the Captain Crunch, man. It's not right, man.
I was going to say, because it made me think of two things about the homeless guy and the dog. First, I think of the Paul Mooney joke where he says, when I see a white homeless person, I cry. I say, look at a waste of good white skin. But also, I think of the thing I also mentioned before when I was talking to my brother and my cousin. We were talking about, man, imagine a man with a dog getting hit by a car. First thing they'll do is go look and see if the dog's okay and not care about the car.
For real, man.
And it's like people tend to, and there's nothing wrong with loving animals and things like that. I feel like people who harm animals are evil people, and there's a spot in hell with child molesters and things like that. But I feel like sometimes there's a focus on animals and there are human beings, and there's a huge disconnect with that now where people don't treat their fellow man as well as they would an animal.
Yeah, that's true. There are animal lovers out there, and I'm not meaning to say anything like to make them feel like disrespect or anything, but human beings are important too. Somebody down on their luck, man, you know, it's a sad thing to see, man, but believe it or not, man, I guess because animals are more trustworthy, I guess, you know, than humans. I don't know. But you will see people taking, oh my God, look at the homeless guy and his dog. Look at that dog. He just needs help. He can't feed the dog. Well, who's going to feed him? It's just sad, man. You know, I see it all the time, man. I see a guy when I go to the grocery store. He stands on the corner, and he's got a little sign up. And I don't know where he find the money to find a cardboard piece of box to write things on, but he found the money to do it. And next beside him is this dog, man. And then, like, it's a little dog, man, and it's like you can see the bones. And I'm just like, man, if you're hungry, man, just eat the dog, man. Because, like, it's already getting ready to get put out of its misery, man. It's bad, man. And you're just standing up there, you know, every car's passing by him, splashing mud all over his clothes when they drive by him. It's sad, man. Like, somebody just help this guy get off the street, get him a job, or, like, you know, try to put him in the right direction. And then take his dog to probably the Humane Society so you can put him down or give him a good home. You know, something, man. It's sad, man. But that's where we live in, man. They'll take a dog in the street before they take a human, man. I don't know.
And I got you. And there's times when you want to help out. You see a homeless person, you want to give change. But sometimes you feel like you've been burned so many times, you find out they're scamming you. And It's like, oh, man. It makes you not want to do a good deed if somebody else screws you. Like you hear, I don't know how I'll hear, but you hear people talking about, hey, the person's hungry and, hey, let me get you a sandwich. Like, nah, I'll just take the money. I feel like that's going down a slippery slope. We could talk about, so many things about that, but I just feel like sometimes when you want to try to help someone out and you find out, they're just trying to bilk you for some money, it makes you not want to help anybody.
Yeah, but you know what, Earl, man? What I do now when I see a homeless person, man, I kill it all. They be like, sir, I'm hungry. I buy a Twix and I give them a piece of it. I said, that way I got one and you got one too.
Sometimes when it's like, if you want to drop something off to give something, I'd do it the way with Salvation Army. I'd try to give them like a nickel or something. I'd just say it's not much, but it's all I can do.
That's right.
You know, losing 5 cents is one thing. $1, that's, especially now, $1 doesn't even go that far anymore.
Yeah, I know it don't. You got to be careful giving away your nickel too, because Thomas Jefferson might resurrect and be like, hey, man, why you giving away 5 cents, man? You know I got all these kids, man. You got to be careful, bro. You got to be careful.
Did you ever see this skit on Mad TV so long ago when they were big into the whole Thomas Jefferson genealogy thing? And then the next thing you know is Keegan-Michael Key come in as George Jefferson. It's like, yeah, come back and claim my inheritance.
yeah. Thomas Jefferson was a pimp, man.
Oh,
he was Thomas Jefferson liked that chocolate, man.
Oh, my God. It's weird. When you hear all that stuff in history, it's just... I know everybody wants to give the excuse.
Thing, man. It's been so watered. Things that we were taught, man. I'm kind of mad about high school, man. You know, even with American history, man, because, you know, it's just like the things they taught us in high school, let's be real, man. How much of it is true, man, and how much of it is false? You know, like, I remember sitting in Mrs. What was that lady called? She got Quakers.
Oh,
you got there, Quakers.
Miss Shawstall.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about oatmeal, man. I never knew what she was talking about, man. She was a good teacher, man, but, like, you know, I never could take these classes serious, man, because it was like, how are you going to talk about history? Like, I mean, I guess it's American history, but, you know, like, we've been cheated out of knowing what real history is, especially if you're black or if you're Asian. It's like, if you're a white person, you're trying to tell an Asian kid about their history, you're like, what? That's not, Confucius didn't say that. You know what I'm saying?
The fortune cookie said that.
Yeah, and 2 egg rolls and a dumpling. Yeah, man. But yeah, it's just I just think we were so misled, man. Like they need to tell us about real things. Like, hey, man, don't mess up your credit. Credit is important, and invest your money. Things that that's going to help you out in the long run. Hey, don't do drugs, which they did. You had DARE, but stay away from cigarettes or things of that nature. So let's speak about things that are really, really relevant right now, man. Don't get me wrong. I would like to know the equation to 2 + 2 divided by 6 divided into 12. And that's going to help you out to get a job.
I mean, going back to the history thing, you ever notice we started so early? We'd always end right before the 1950s. We'd finish maybe right at the end of World War II. We don't get to Korea. We don't get to the Red Scare. We don't get to, all that stuff that happened in the 50s all the way down to the 60s.
Yeah, man. Well, I think with us being children of the 80s, man, I think the 80s were the best. You had Wham, man. You had George Michael, man. You had Saturday morning cartoons. The toys were 10 times better, man. These kids don't even know what Thundercats are, man.
And it's weird because some of those were made in China. And back then, I think some of them were made in Taiwan. Some of those toys were made in Taiwan. And we probably all got poisoned through some of those action figures. The He-Mans, the Transformers, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, it's weird. Growing up, do you consider yourself a millennial?
No, I do not. These millennials now, they're doing weird stuff, man. To get high, I was talking to a kid. He's a millennial, man. He was born in 1998 or 99 or something. And he's talking about getting high. And the way he's getting high now is they sniff bags of poo, man. What? Bags of poo?
You're kidding,
they let
right?
It sit, man. They let it season.
You're not kidding, are you?
No, I'm not. It is disgusting. Just like with the bath tablets.
And the Tide Pods.
Don't get me wrong, man. Them pods look like gummies. They look pretty tasty, man. I wouldn't do one, but I'm like, damn, man, if I wasn't confused, I'm like, if I touched that, I'm like, oh, man, this is a nice piece of gummy right here, man. This looks pretty tasty. But what do you get out of taking a crap in a bag and then letting it sit in the sun for a little bit? Because you got to bake it on 350 degrees. That's what they said. You got to bake the poo for 350 degrees. And then you go sniff the bag, bro. Like, you're sniffing ass, man. That's not good.
Normally, if you pooped in a bag, wouldn't you just set it on fire and knock on somebody's door for them to stomp it out?
Yeah, like, what's going on, man, with our generation, man? Like, this is scary, man. Imagine when you get old, and these are the kids in charge of the country and in charge of, like, your health care and things like that. It's scary getting old, man. I've always felt like I got old fast because one morning I woke up and I had no hair, man. I was like the Black Professor X. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like, who's going to diagnose me? Like, I go into the hospital, man, with just a minor headache. Oh, sir, you got syphilis. What? How did I get it? I don't know, so we have to chop off your head. Oh, my God.
At least I thought they would go with the foot. I mean, even Kunta Kinte and diabetics have their foot cut off.
Yes, Kunta did.
We were talking about the millennial thing. Technically, being born in 83, and we're born a day apart. You were born the 18th, I was born the 19th of February. And we're technically in that range. I think it's like from 81 to somewhere in the 90s or maybe early 2000s as millennials. But being older millennials, we grew up and seeing the transition of technology. We went from rotary phones to touch-tone phones to cell phones. We went from those old word processors to internet, from AOL to now high-speed internet. And it's crazy how we've been able to see the transition of time. Just imagine a person who went from seeing the light bulb to running indoor bathrooms to cars and to radio and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. Especially from a gaming standpoint. We've seen Atari, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis. We were born in a great time, man. Like, we've seen so much things, like even all the way up to PlayStation. It's just wow, man. Everything that we've seen, man, is amazing. And I empathize with those people that, the first thing they ever seen was a candle being lit and how wax was formed, and that's all they ever got, man, from lighting fire on wooden stakes. That's it. And then you get a chance to even see, like you said, the light bulb or anything evolve, man. Like, it's crazy, man. It just reminds me of, like, back in the days with the Black Plague and all that stuff, man. Those people didn't get a chance to see anything, man. It's sad, bro, but I'm glad we was born in the generation we were born in, man. Because we got a chance to see everything, man. Airplanes, and we haven't seen flying cars yet, and supposedly the Jetsons, they were flying in the 70s. What's happening with that?
If you ever look at Super Mario Brothers, you got to think that had to be done by hippies. Think about mushrooms that make you change size, flower power, and stuff like that. It just makes you think.
Oh, yeah, man. Super Mario, man. And then it was two Italian plumbers, Mario and Luigi. Oh, man, bro. That's just racism, man.
The weirdest transition as it is. I was very interesting. I know recently over the past year, you've been documenting trying to reconnect with your dad's family. And it was a very interesting story and a very unique story. And I wanted to talk to you about that because nowadays you see people trying to get up with their genealogy and getting a better idea of where they came from. What led to your decision to not only find out more about your dad, but reconnect with his family? And what did you feel like the initial reaction was going to be when you went to try to reach out to him?
Okay, so it was 2017, and I was actually watching a movie, Antoine Fisher, very good movie. I don't know if you've seen it. And the movie's about him, trying to find his family, like where he come from. And like that's another movie that Denzel Washington did really, really well in. But I was sitting on the couch one day, and my fiance, she said, hey, that reminds me of you a lot. She said, why don't you ever try to reach out and find out, your other half? I used to get really sensitive, get mad about it. I was like, you know what? I don't know where to even look. She said, well, do you know anybody that you can remember growing up with, And at the time, they used to come down to Ocean City. I've seen my dad probably maybe I'll say twice. When I was a kid, though, I could very, very faintly remember him, but he had a really, really thick Italian accent. That's all I remember, and I didn't understand what he was saying at the time. But she said, yeah, why don't you try to find out where these people are, or, don't you even want to try? So I went to bed, and I was going to go to bed, and then I was like, you know what? I remember one person. Her name was Gabriella. She's my niece now that I know her. And I said, well, I remember this one, and at the time I didn't know if she was my niece or what she was, but I knew she was related to me somehow. And I said, I'll try to find her on Facebook. Facebook is a great tool. It's not just used for craziness, but it can help you if you're especially looking for things of this nature, man. And I went on Facebook and I typed in her name, and a person popped up that kind of reminded me of her. Again, it's been almost 25 years, man. People change. So I wasn't too sure. So I took a guess at this person because her last name was Espinoza. She got married, and I didn't know that. But I was typing in Rossetti, and then I just said, well, I'm going to write this person. So I ended up writing this person, and I said, well, we'll see. And I ended up falling asleep. So the next morning, my phone is going off crazy, man, just going crazy. And what I do, I'm a director at a casino, so I figured it was something from the casino or whatever. And next thing I know, I looked on my phone, and it was her. I got this message back, and I was like, oh, man. So I opened it up, and she was like, hey, this is Gabriella. And she said, are you Tommy? And I was like, yeah. I said, I'm sorry to bother you. I said, I was just trying to get a hold of some family. I have a brother named Franco. My dad name was Antonio. She said, yes, we've been looking for you for almost 10, 15 years now. I was like, oh my goodness, man. We ended up talking. It was just so surreal how it happened. And then we ended up talking. She said, well, we got to meet. I got to tell my mom. Next thing I know, I'm getting all these phone calls from these different numbers from New York. And then it was crazy. All my sisters tried to get a hold of me all at once. I gave him my number. It was just like a movie how it happened, man. So they ended up having a condo in Miami, and I ended up driving down to Miami and ended up meeting one of my sisters at the time, man. It was I don't know, it was so unreal, man, when I first met them, man, because it was I know what my mom and my dad did, but I had nothing, he had nothing to do with it. But it was really hard to talk to him at first. Even now, I've been to New York, I've been to their house, in New York, and I'm plan on going on a trip to them to Italy so I can find more family over in Italy. So it's very, very emotional, man, because it was a void that it was always never filled in my life, and my dad, he did what he did. I know he left when he passed away. He kind of didn't tie that knot with things, but, I believe in God, man. I believe that wherever he is, he had something to do with us, coming back together. And it's almost like being that lost boy, growing up. You don't know what people go through in their privacy. And the things I went through, not knowing my dad and not feeling like I'm never, good enough. It was funny. I was talking to them, and I was like, why I took up hotel restaurant management in college? Is because I wanted to have a closer bond to my dad. And at the time, that's what I thought he did. He owned restaurants. He was a hotel owner. And then to come to find out, my dad was none of that. Like, he did that in his later life. In his earlier life, my dad was an opera singer. He made shoes, orthopedic shoes in Italy. You know, he was this totally opposite man. So I kind of like had formed my life, you know, to be closer to a guy, to have like a bond with him. It was a reality check, and I was like, wow, this guy's he doesn't even do this. What am I doing? You know, like, but just to have a bond with him, I wanted to have some type of connection with him, you know. And it was rough, man, but that's just life, man. Sometimes you go through things, you know, you don't know what's going to come your way, man. But when I met them, it was like, you know, still now, Earl, man, I still be in like dreamland when I talk to them, because it's like, it's something I thought that would never happen. I thought I was going to leave this earth and like never know, you know, I would just be a misplaced person. When I try to talk to my mom, she could give me only pieces of answers. She didn't want to, you know, say everything to me. But that's the thing. When you're a kid, man, you're asking all these questions like, hey, you know, obviously I look different from, you know, Brian and Demonte and everybody, you know, like I looked a lot different. You know, I was more on the yellow side, and it was like, I don't look like you guys, so what's going on, you know? But, you know, everything worked out, I guess, for the way it worked out, man. Because I'm pretty sure if I would have met them when I was 16, 17 years old, I would have probably been more angry than when I was when I met them now that I'm a man, you know, and I have a kid of my own, you know, I got my son now. So I'm kind of able to understand. I mean, I tried to understand things, but 25 years, I said, Jesus, man, that's like a long time that goes by, man. You don't even know if you're going to, you know, ever meet these people. That's what I would say to myself. I said, so I kind of wrote it off. But, like, had I not ever seen that movie, you know, my fiance put that in my head, like, I would have never tried, man. I would have never tried to do anything. Like, I would just keep going on through life, you know, and just wondering, like, man, I got a whole lot of people out there that I'll never know. Never. You know, I'll just be... You know, when I pass away, that's going to be it. That's going to be my legacy and with things, and that's it. So it was very, very surreal, man, when I met them. You know, it was almost like meeting, I don't know, like your favorite actor or your favorite sports person. Like, to me, it was like, wow. Like, I walked into my sister's house and I saw these images of my dad, man. It was like, wow, man, I'm here looking at a star. At the time, that's what I felt like. I was looking at like this icon, man, like that was never a part of my life that wanted to be. You know, they told me that he wanted to be a part of my life, hadn't he got sick. And, you know, my dad, he died fairly young, man. He was only 60. You know, he had cancer in the sinus, and he got cured of it, but then he got sick, and then that's what took him out. But even now, it's hard to pick up the phone and call them because you don't have that relationship with them. So you don't know if they're busy or you just don't know. Sometimes it's still uneasy picking up the phone. Like, even with my brother, man, my brother's 60 years old, man. 60 years old. I have an older brother, and he's already set in his ways. You know, you can't really like change anybody's mind with things, you know, like they're just, you know, the way they are, man. He came around, and when I went up to New York and I seen him, he came around and said, hey, you know, I know we missed out on a lot, but, you know, if you have us, you know, we would like get to know you and things like that. It's so much energy, man. It's a lot of energy to try to put into it, man. It's hard, man. But, you know, I believe that we all met up for a reason now, you know, more than anything. So I'm trying to seize the opportunity to talk to them and be more open with them. And, you know, yeah, it was a very, very trying time, man. But like, you would have never known, because I've always been the type of guy, I've always been goofy, I always smile, always like to be like a jokester and things like that. But, you know, in a person's private life, you never know, man. They go through things, you know. Mine was dealing with that, you know, growing up. It was very, very hard. But now, you know, it's like when you wake up in the morning putting on your shoes, man. It's getting easier, you know, but it was tough, man. It was a tough thing to do.
I had two questions I had to ask you. First, was there a fear that you wouldn't be accepted, and how did your parents meet?
Well, yeah, there was a big fear of me not being accepted. I mean, like, it was on two aspects. One, because I was biracial, you know, but, you know, this is me not knowing, you know, the whole feeling of he obviously cheated on his wife. And then they're Italians. Italian people are very family-oriented people, man. Very, very family-oriented, and they're really respectful to their mothers and to their fathers. They're like that. Well, at least in the family that I'm a part of, that's how it is. I can't speak on everybody, but so when I first got there, I felt like, oh man, you know, I know they're gonna respect their mother a lot. and I don't think they're going to accept me. And I thought that's what it was this whole time. You know, that they just didn't want any part of me because of their mom, my dad's wife. She's still alive to this day. And she, matter of fact, Earl, man, she's one of the reasons, I don't know if you looked at my Facebook, I'm kneeling down at this lady. That's my dad's wife. And she's one of the reasons why a lot of this happened. Because she said, no, that's not his fault. You know, what Tony did and Geneva did, that's them. But that child had nothing to do with that. And it was, it was very reassuring that she took the step. This lady's almost 82, 83 years old. And she was okay with things. She was at peace with things. But for the longest, I thought they didn't want me around because of what happened, but they didn't know, even when I talked to them, they didn't know the real reason why we never linked up. She thought because of my mom. They thought because of my mom. It's just like a big misunderstanding, man. And I'm glad now that it's all out in the open. It just was a bunch of missed opportunities on both parts. Both parts could have been a lot better at it, man. But, what are you going to do when you got a kid that was born out of wedlock and whose dad, if you're looking at my sister's point of view, my brother's, hey, dad cheated on our mom, and now we got a little brother out there and we got to accept him? Like, it's I don't know, man. Like I said, but they came to the conclusion, hey, but it's not his fault. But my dad and my mom did, it's them. He didn't do anything. He had nothing to do with that. He can't help that he was born, which I couldn't. I didn't ask to be here. None of us asked to be here. We're here, But how they met, my mom worked for my dad, man, actually, at Seascape Hotel in Ocean City, man, when my mom was like 20. Well, that's when she had me. I think she was like 18 when she started there, man, and then he was the manager over there, but he was one of the managing partners over there. And they ended up, I guess, linking up right there. I know she worked for him for like maybe 2 years, and then she ended up leaving because she went up there and talked to him. And she said that they messed around or whatever, and then boom, she got pregnant. And she said, oh, man, the only thing that I did, I shouldn't have told him was on top of the roof of Seascape. Because she said, oh, my God, I thought he was going to throw me off the roof when he found out. So I was like, well, and she told him, and then when she had me, he saw me, and I guess he was like, yeah, I can't deny it. That's my son. So that's the story that I got that she told me, man. So that's how they met, and she actually worked for him in the hotel. She worked for him in laundry. She was doing the laundry there, and he was head over laundry. He was a managing partner or something like that, she said. And then, they would come down every summer to Ocean City because Franco, if you ever been on the beach, as a matter of fact, on 18th Street in Ocean City, it's called Franco's Pizza Parlor. That's my brother, Franco. If I ever come back home, which I will, I'm coming home in April. I don't know where you are now, Earl, exactly, but I'll be home in April. I go down and see my mom sometimes. But I know my brother, he'll be running the shop. In April, we get together, man, or something, man. We go get some pizza, man. It's really, really delicious, man. He got a pizza parlor there, and he has a pizza parlor in New Rochelle, New York, and then I think one in Jersey. He's doing really, really well. So, yeah, man, it was a roller coaster ride with this, man. But, I think I'm at peace with everything because I was mad for the longest, but, I had to mask a lot of things. And I don't think I turned out that bad, man, for not knowing no direction. For the longest, like I said, man, I was more mad at him because it was like, man, you just left me here, man, and I kind of have to figure out things on my own, but I stayed away from like the bad stuff. Did never do any drugs. And never went to jail. Never did anything like that, man. Went to college, did the best I could, and that's with my mom's guidance. My mom did the best she could with me, man. I know it's hard raising a adolescent like myself, but yeah, man. I believe if I had met them at the time, growing up, it would have been a lot more damaging, I think, to the relationship that I would have had with them because I was more angry then. I was in my angry stage. You know how Eminem started out and he was mad at his mom. Now he's like, hush, little baby, don't you cry. Everything's going to be all right. I would have been like that. I mean, that's where I'm at right now, man. So it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I think God works in mysterious ways, man, and he knows what's really troubling you in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, man. So that's the story, though, man. Believe it or not, how it happened, man. I met them through Facebook. We linked up through Facebook, man, and then it was like, cream cheese from there, man. It was a cool spread, man. I wish you could rewind that moment again and again and again because it was very emotional, going through that, man. But yeah, man, like my dad was, from my understanding, he was a very, very good man, and he got along with everybody, and he loved his family. But he did what he did, man. He was a man. When you're a man, you tend to come short. We're not perfect people, man. So, as good as he was, he had flaws, man. We all do. So that's how it happened, man.
I know you mentioned being engaged and having a son. How do you feel fatherhood has changed you?
Oh, man. Wow, man. So, like, fatherhood has really opened up my eyes. It's not about you anymore. Like, I was big into fashion, which I still am, don't get me wrong. I love clothing, but like you think more of like when you become a dad, you're like, shoot, man, I gotta buy a house now. I gotta do this. I gotta teach my kid the ins and outs of life, what's right, what's wrong. It's an eye opener, man, because you want them to be more successful than you are, and you just want to put them on the right path, man. But it's fun, man. You see this little miniature of yourself. They're running around, they're breathing. You can't believe, you're like, man, I can't believe this guy came out of my sack, man. I just can't believe it. This guy came out of my sack, man. And like it's just like, wow, man. You're just amazed by it, man. But it's just an amazing experience, man. Like, and then I don't know, man. Like, I've been scared of having kids for the longest, man, because I said I didn't want them to grow up and be upset with me, like if I was to die or if something happened and I couldn't be around anymore. That's my biggest fear now, and I'm 36 now. I didn't have my son till I was 33, and I was like, wow, man, and I would have kept on waiting, but it was my time, I guess, and fatherhood, it's what you make of it, I guess, man, because I love my son, man. He's an awesome kid, man, and he's very smart, man, and I love being a dad, man, but, like I said, I was very fearful of it for the longest time. That's why I waited so long to have a kid. I mean, this is enough for me. He's enough, but it's cool, man. It's cool, man. Like, when I look at Dante, they're getting ready to have another baby, and he's got 16 or 17?
18, because Dylan is in my niece's age range, and she's about to graduate.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And Dante looks the same. He's not too far. He's in Wellington. He's probably like 2 hours away from me. But yeah, no, man. I didn't mean to get off topic, but no, it's cool, man. It's cool, man. If you're down to like really, really be in your kid's life and support them, and it's just awesome. I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world, man.
Now, as we transition, because there is sports in the title of the podcast, so we got to talk a little bit of sports. And you said earlier in our pre-interview, you have season tickets to the Miami Heat. What is that experience like going to that game? I always saw, especially even during the LeBron days, where the arena would be half empty before the first quarter.
Bro, it is still empty, man. That has not changed. It's even more emptier now, man. Like, when I saw Golden State play, that's the most I've seen it being packed there, man. When Golden State comes into town, or, like, if you see LeBron or something coming in, but nobody wants to see the Knicks come down, or if, like, Atlanta comes down, because there's no big stars, man. Everybody wants to see Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, or Paul George. That's the most I've seen it really, really busy. Nobody else really, like, is a big attraction, man. Like, you go to a game there, man, usually I'm sitting right in the middle rows. About time the second quarter comes around, you can move down, man, closer to the game because it's that empty, man. You don't even have to be like a ninja. You can just walk down and sit in somebody's spot because it's already waiting for you. Because it's nothing, man. But it's fun, man. You get to see the games and everything, but it's still empty, man. It's still not as good as when you see Curry and Golden State come to town. Then it's like, wow, you see some of the celebrities come out, man. Like, man, I see these people on TV. You see, like, Kim Kardashian, believe it or not, because they got places in Miami, You'll see them. You'll see Kanye. I remember I've seen Jay-Z. Man, it's crazy, man. You get to see all these people, man. And it's like, wow, these people I grew up listening to and watching. So it's cool, man, being able to see all that stuff, man.
How much do you pay for season tickets? What kind of package do you get?
The package I got, man, was the brother package, bro. You know what the brother package is? I paid close to, it was like $3,000. $3,000. It's expensive.
How many games?
It's like you see majority of them. You don't see all the games, man, but it's enough. Every time they have a schedule, I do miss some because of my job, but I'm usually down in Miami a lot, so that's when I go and see them. I get to see half of the games, man, but you're in Miami. You're paying that price, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing for like I get Orioles tickets and we do like 13 game packs and we're only paying combined for 2 seats for 13 games a season. We pay $450. We pay $450 for 13 games. You know, that's not counting driving from Newark, Delaware to Baltimore, which again isn't that bad. It's just all about honestly, we can get there in an hour from where we're living and we're 40 minutes away from Philly.
Yeah, no, man. You come down to Miami, Florida, man, it's different ball game, man. It's so expensive, man. It's expensive, man, because you're paying for almost to see the stars, man. Mm-hmm. That's what you're paying for, man. Then the food there, like I got a hot dog and a drink, man. I paid almost $15 for it. For a hot dog, man.
And you see them down in Atlanta where they got everything super cheap. You pay maybe $3 for a hot dog and $2 something for a soda. And it's ridiculous. I mean, and I know the Ravens just did that too. They cut all their prices at their stadium, I guess, to be a little more fan friendly. I mean, if you're paying ridiculous amounts of money to go see a football game, you might as well at least pay something cheap for concessions.
Yeah, they know what they're doing, man. They're milking it, man, because, who's not going to want to go and see, if you got the opportunity, who's not going to want to go to see Dwayne Wade or LeBron James or Stephen Curry if you got the opportunity to do it? And people are going to do it, man. They're going to pay that money. I know I did. You know, I was fortunate enough to be able to go and put the money to go see the games, man. But it's still fun. It's still something I wouldn't trade. It's a great experience.
Growing up, what were your favorite teams?
In basketball, it was at the time the Lakers. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I was more of a Kobe Bryant fan, and that's in basketball. Football, I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because I was a big fan of Mike Allstott and Keyshawn Johnson at the time, Warwick Dunn, John Lynch. I just loved even Warren Sapp in my football. Wasn't really big into hockey. Baseball, of course, I grew up watching Cal Ripken, man. Baltimore was, the Orioles, was a team. I remember going and seeing the Shorebirds play, man. But I wasn't really more or less into baseball. I would like to play it, but I wasn't more into baseball. But basketball, football, and now, believe it or not, I was into mixed martial arts back then, too, with the Gracie, and then I loved Carlos Newton, all those guys that were fighting. Don Fry, Dan the B. Severin. That one was more bare knuckle. You didn't even know the art forms. You just saw these guys busting each other's in the chops. But then when Royce Gracie stepped on the scene and he started using Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's when it became more of an art form then, man. You had to actually know what you were doing instead of just going there swinging, man. But, football, man, I loved Tampa Bay, loved Lakers growing up, but I've always was a Golden State fan. Always, even with Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullin, when they had Mitch Richmond. I still watched Golden State play, but I was a Kobe Bryant fan growing up, man. So those were my teams and everything I was into, man.
I know you mentioned mixed martial arts, and for some reason, I just prefer the boxing part of it. And I'm not a big boxing aficionado, but I'll watch boxing matches when they're on TV. And I feel like UFC mixed martial arts has taken some of the best things of both pro wrestling and boxing, and that's what I feel like has been huge in making them popular.
Believe it or not, man, I think it's still more safer than boxing. With boxing, you're constantly either getting hit in the body or hit in the head. But it's more like a chess game, man, with UFC. It's like, okay, let me see if I get you down to the ground. Let's see how you're, because it's all about being able to fight off your back, and a lot goes into it, man. It's a lot more technical to me, a lot more strategic. So, I mean, it's, that's why I love John Jones so much. Unfortunately, he had his run-ins with USADA and everything, but I still think he's one of the most dominant lightweights in there because he's able to adapt. That's what you got to do in UFC, man. Okay, you may be good at standing up, but what are you going to do if I get you down to the ground? Are you going to you can't punch me off your back. I mean, you can, but it's less effective. So how are you going to get me off your back? Well, I either have to submit you or I have to do something to get top mount on you and then ground and pound you or submit you. There's always ways you got to figure out what you're doing. You got to actually, and it's more professional. You got to keep your body in shape. You got to make your weight. I know when I was in wrestling, it was the same thing. Master Gunnery always had us run, man. I don't know why he didn't believe in weight training, but we just ran. And then we did our exercises, but I remember one particular thing, maybe to get off, I was in regionals, man, and I went against this guy. When you're in regionals, you go against people, I think almost 10 more, 15 pounds more than you or 20 pounds, whatever the case may be. And this guy, man, I got on the mat, man. I don't even know if you were there at the time. He probably was there, man. This big white guy. This guy looked like Creed in Creed 2, and like Drago's son was looking, man, all diesel and stuff, man. This guy slammed me into a coma, man. He slammed me so bad, man, that I actually won. I sunk a half in on him, and I won, but I couldn't continue after that. He slammed me so bad that I caught the flu. It was bad, man. I didn't even want to go back out there on the mat at the time, man. But, like, yeah, Master Gunner did not believe in weight training, man. He just believed in, you did those squat thrusts and some push-ups, man. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2.
Man makers, boy breakers.
That's right. Niner.
Oh my God. I was just talking with one of our previous guests. She wrestled in high school a little because she didn't get as many opportunities. It was like, if you ended up going to Snow Hill, you probably would have ended up wrestling. Well, now I think about it, you probably might not have had that much of an opportunity to wrestle as much because even Jamie didn't get a shot to wrestle a lot.
Yeah, well, Jamie would slap you any damn way. She was slapping you, man. So it was something else, man. But that's what UFC is, though, man. You got to know how to adapt, man. So it's one of those things, bro.
It's funny. I was going to ask you about wrestling, and we started getting on the whole Master Gunny thing. It's like, I know he was very focused on cardio, and especially knowing the routines and things like that. I'd be curious to see how his techniques would mesh up with some of the stuff that coaches do now, and some of the other coaches that I've covered as a reporter, and how they would do their routines.
Well, I think Master Gunning, he was a very strong-willed man. I know he had to be, 45, 50 at the time, and still, he was able to run and be real active, and to instill that in us, man. I think it would be a great technique, because, I remember this kid, he was fat, man. He was real big, and then he lost a lot of weight.
You talking Melito?
Yeah, Melito.
Yeah.
There we go.
Like a Melito.
Yeah. He was big, man, and he lost a lot of weight, man. And, I think Master Gunnery, man, he was smart before his time. I think it would mesh well with the, way coaches do things nowadays, man. Like, his way is old school way. He's an old school guy, man. Marine. The mentality that those guys got to have is strong, man. I'm glad that I got to experience a man like that, man, because believe it or not, just going back to where my dad and stuff, he was like a father figure in my life at that time, man. You know what I'm saying? So he was a great wrestling coach, man. Although I still got my struggles with him with the weight stuff, man. I think we should have been using some weights, man, because like I said, man, I got slammed, bro. That was hurt, man. That hurt my feelings, man.
And see, that's the thing. I was never big into weightlifting until maybe when I turned mid-20s, early 20s, that's when I got into shape. I lost 40 pounds, and yeah, because I would hit the gym. I'd go in for this is what I do. I do an hour and a half of weightlifting and a half hour on the treadmill. And even then, at that time, I was still eating what I wanted because, when you're 23, 24, 25, you can still do that. Now we're 10 years older. I don't think we could still do that.
Man, believe it or not, I'm still active, man. I still work out, man. I still play basketball to keep myself in shape, man. I still run around these young kids. Like when they're playing basketball, I go out there and play with them, just to keep up with them because they're young, they're faster. So I try to push myself to keep up with them. I still try to do things, which I'm still very active in sports. I still lift weight. But, of course, attrition and everything's going to come to all of us, man. But it's how you able to deal with it and make sure you just always keep yourself going. If you're just walking or if you're just picking up a weight from here and there, just curling it or just watching what you're eating, believe it or not, it's all in that. And I know you're near Philly, man, so I know you get some of them good old cheesesteaks, man.
It's funny, as the older I get, something about cheesesteaks, they're not as appealing as they used to be when I was younger. There's just certain foods, but as soon as you say that, there is this Brazilian steakhouse right in Delaware that's basically like Fogo de Chao, but tax-free and cheaper. And, you get them guys in there with the swords and cutting all the meat off on the plate. And it's like... Yeah, man. Again, this is not something you do every week, but I'll admit, it was like when I did the Sports Jeopardy and won on there, Lisa went 2 or 3 times in that, and then a 3 or 4 month span, because it's like, hey, we have the extra money. It's like, you get on the game show and you win sometimes it really is true. When you go on game show stuff, that can be life-changing money, especially if you know how to handle it. As you mentioned before, we should learn about credit scores and how to balance checkbooks and stuff like that. I feel like sometimes people can win a whole bunch of things, just like the lottery. They can lose that money just as quick as they got it.
Yeah, that's true, man. If you're not smart with your money, man, you can put yourself in a big hole, man. And it's more easier to put yourself in and then getting out. It's really, really hard trying to recuperate and then, like, you know, get out of a hole. It's just so easy to go into it, but it's so hard to get out.
Yeah, we waited. First of all, California takes their money for being on the show. Then you still know you got to pay the government eventually. So we held off on any expenditure that would be ridiculous. Worst case, we got a PS4 or something like that. You know, PS4 is not going, in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to hurt you financially.
No, it's not.
Yeah, and we always try to get our games used anyway because... what's the difference if a game comes out a year later, like Madden? Doesn't really matter. I just bought Madden 17 for like $4.
Right.
I don't care, man. It doesn't matter because if there's something if there was something that we really wanted, we'd go out and get it. And then we know what? We'd make the promise we wouldn't spend a lot. And that's the big thing. It's like, because we owed like $7,000 as a result of winnings because it also pushed us in almost into a new tax bracket just because of that. And then that point, $7,000. It was a lot. I think it was more than that because I think federal, they had to get their share. Delaware gets their share. But other than that, we weren't spending frivolously. We kept track of our money. We keep track of our money now. It's just, it is funny. I always feel like, I don't know if you watch Big Bang Theory, I always feel like Howard Wolowitz where he talks about he was an astronaut and like, oh yeah, I was on a game show. Like, I don't want to be the dude that just said, yeah, I was on a game show because that's cool. But I'd rather be the dude that wrote a book about, hey, I was on a game show instead of being a guy that said I was on a game show. That's really true. You can't even find anymore because they took it off Crackle. But yeah, man. But I'm glad I got copies of my episodes. But yeah, it's just like, I've got into a really lucky situation. Missed the first test, got a chance to do the second test, and I'm like, okay, I didn't expect to get a call, get this email. Hey, we want you to come to New York and do the audition. And then, not even that long after the audition, it's like a phone call middle of the day. It's like, hey, we want you to come out to LA. I know it's so short notice, but can you come out to LA? Oh, what the hell? Might as well, you only live once. But yeah. That was a whole cool experience, and yeah, eventually I know I'm going to go into depth on that another time down the road. I don't want to hijack everything. I always feel like I'm hijacking stuff when it comes to talking to the guests, because, you know, it's about them.
Yeah, no, it's all good, man. No, I actually, that's good, man, that you did that, man. Bro, like, come on, man. Whoever would have thought, even when I look at Dante and what he's accomplished and what you've accomplished, man, you guys did really, really good, man. I mean, I've done stuff good on a low scale, like nothing like I've never been on TV or anything like that. But, man, like, I look at Dante, he's making his nutrition videos and, you know, motivating people. He's the next Billy Blanks, you know, coming out. And, you know, you're on Sports Jeopardy, bro. Like, because you're smart, man. You've always been a smart guy, man. And, man, that's awesome, man. I'm happy for you, man. And happy for Dante that he's doing well. And, you know, and then, like, look at how many of our classmates, man, like, how successful everybody's being. Some people are still back home in Snow Hill, man, working at Paul M. Jones. It's still around, bro.
You know, that Chinese restaurant, China Moon, apparently closed down a while ago. I didn't even know, because that was the last time I saw you face to face previously, because I think you had already left and I hadn't moved back. And it's like, I saw you at China Moon. We were having like some type of discussion because I hadn't seen you in like years after you and me asked. So I was like, yeah, that's the last time I had saw you there. And like, that place is closed down, apparently. I mean, IGA is still open, but you know.
Yeah, IGA, man. It's,
now they got gas tanks there.
Yeah, no, man, I just been back home, man. It's been almost, I went home recently, but it's been almost 4 years now. Because I only go like every 4 years or something like that. And I want to start going back more now because, like, you know, my mom's getting older and I don't know, man, you just want to be more intact. I actually thought about, you know, moving to New York now. A lot of things cross my mind now, man, because being down here in Florida, I'm so far away. It's amazing how when you're young, you try to get away and run away from everything that reminds you of things. And now that I'm down here, I've been away for so long, it's like, man, I want to gravitate toward more things that I grew up with or be more near the area, near my family, or especially now that I met my dad's side, you want to be near them more, you know, like, because, man, I missed out on so much, so I got to make up for lost time, you know, but, yeah, man, I don't know where I was going with that either, but I just
that's all right. It's funny, it's 2019. I was like, we're almost 2 years away from that 20th class reunion that we'll probably never have anyway.
Yeah, we didn't even have our 10-year one.
There was like an 11th-year one where everybody was at Secrets.
And it was a secret.
Well, I saw the group thing. It's like, yeah, I just don't know because, it'll happen if it happens, eventually. Because surprisingly, we haven't had a lot of our ranks thin out yet. If you look back at our class, who has really died from our class? And I know that's a dark question to ask, but honestly, it probably once you get that 30 mark, that's when you're going to probably start seeing people drop like flies. 30, 40 mark, that's when it gets, and you imagine had the 70-year reunion. It's sad because you're only like 2 people there. It's like, what's the point, man? Just have us some coffee or something and just call it a day. Just call it a day. I mean, like I said, the key will be like 30, 40, 50. That's basically it. Because after that, it's like you said, attrition. Because ain't nobody going to be around forever.
No, they're not, man. But, I don't know, man. Nobody's really passed away, man. Artie has been skipped over, man. Like, I know Sandra, her brother passed away not too long ago. But nobody, like, in our, like, I remember a guy, I don't know if you were around. His name was Julius Holden. I
heard the name, but now I can't say I do know.
Yeah, no, he probably was like the only one, him and his brother, he probably was the only one that passed away, but everybody else, I think...
Tanya Mitchum, that might be the only person. Tanya Mitchum, but that was before we even graduated.
Yeah, I don't think nobody has, man, and, I think, believe it or not, I believe, man, our year, especially us as the group, I just think we were more like, I always thought we were always going to be more okay, because we didn't really do anything bad. We didn't do anything like, I don't know. It just always had this feeling, man, like we were like the chosen group for some reason. I don't know why. I've always felt like we were the chosen group to be more successful, to be okay with life, whenever life has, whatever happens. I guess I'm feeling real biased because it's our class. But I thought our class was awesome. Even we were up to graduation and we did our talent shows. I think we had the most awesome talent shows. When me and you got on stage, man, and would perform, man. And we all performed, man. Like, oh my God, man. It was like awesome, man. It was a great thing, man. I don't know.
Briefly getting into music, I don't know how much you listen to modern music today. I feel like such an old person now saying, how much you listen to modern music today? But yeah, I try to get into a lot of music. I just can't. I feel like, maybe it's just us getting older. And I've always felt like I've been like a musically repressed state, like 2000 on back. Yeah. But other than that, there's like little songs here and there, there's a couple of songs that I'll like that'll end up making my playlist or something like that. But other than that, I just can't get into it anymore.
You know what, man, I'm so glad you touched on that, man, because music has always been a big influence on me, from R&B. I'm talking about real R&B to real hip hop or soft rock and things of that nature, man. But the things that really bother me, man, nowadays is this trash music they play on the radio. I can't even listen to the radio anymore because it's so bad. They talk about the same thing over and over. It's either about women, money, cars, and drugs. And it's not even nothing productive in the music anymore, man. Like, even with R&B, the R&B isn't really R&B now. It's like intertwined with this trash crap they got on, like hip-hop. I don't know if it's hip-hop or what it is, but it is so bad, man. Like, when we grew up, we had the Luther Vandross and Babyfaces, and then like we
Jodeci.
had, it was so much soul put into music, man. Like, it was more like, you being in love and falling in love with someone. And nowadays, it's all about you just smashing their brains to pieces and killing people. I mean, don't get me wrong, we always had gangster rap, but it had always informed you of what was going on in the community. Like NWA, and then you had like your conscious rap, like Black Star, you had Talib Kweli, you had all those guys, man, Mos Def. Like conscious rap, but now it's just, and I'm not gonna say I blame the South for this, but
I'd blame the music industry because they let this happen.
Yeah, but you gotta understand, like, they want that to happen, man. Like, come on, like, everything is a plan. I believe in the Illuminati. I believe in that stuff, man, because it is a way to, like, control a population, man. It's just so big on killing the message to people, man. Like, hip-hop has gotten so raped now. It's so, like, disgusting. Like, it's a shame I was talking to Like, matter of fact, the millennials, man, these kids, oh, you ever heard of Little Yachty? He's dope. What? Are you kidding me? Little Yachty? And I'll look this guy up, and it's so trash, man. It is so horrible. Probably like the best rapper. He died now recently, XXXTentacion. He passed away. He's probably like the best one that was out of all of them, but he was going through mental depression. He was talking about depression, trying to help kids that were going through depression, you know, because he was going through it. And that's what I'm saying, man. Like, oh my, what's the guy that's going to jail? 6ix9ine? Yeah. Oh, thank God he's in jail. Thank God, man. Kiki got that red. What are you talking about? Who the hell is Kiki, man? You know, and that's just terrible. I don't even know who Kiki is, bro.
But I will say this, but nonsensical lyrics have been going on for 60 years. From Yakety Yak to Louie Louie, from every little stupid little song. There have been nonsensical lyrics from the beginning of time. From the beginning.
Yeah, man, but we're supposed to stray away from that, Earl. Like, come on, man. There's a lot of, like, either way, goody, goody, do down, down, goody, goody. Like, that doo-wop, skibidi-bop.
Yeah, see, but that's considered an art form. Jazz and scat now is watered down to that smooth jazz, which you can hear on your NPR stations if it isn't bluegrass.
Yeah. No, man, it's just music. The hip hop has been so. If you notice, that's really the only thing that has like got changed. Country has become more pop.
I've seen it go from the old stuff to a little more, you know, all my rowdy friends, and then this, and then you get honky tonk badonka donk, and then you go to everything sounded like an R&B song, like that one with what is it, BB Rexa and all that. Yeah, it sounds like an R&B song. It could basically be played on. Oh, God, I was going to say OC104, but, man, you remember OC104? I always talk to my wife about this. OC104 used to play everything under the sun in the mid-90s. They wouldn't just play hip-hop and R&B. They play Hootie and the Blowfish. They play, like, some Ace of Base. They play all types of stuff. I remember they had that Casey Kasem's Countdown on Sundays, and Paul Harvey talking about the rest of the story on the afternoons. It's just... It's weird how radio has changed. And I understand you got to go with the trends and stuff like that, but I feel the more I talk about it, I feel like that picture of...
man, bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, Earl, we grew up in a great time. You don't even hear, like, I know you remember growing up listening to when you get on the school bus, and they would play songs on the school bus. Like, we'd be going to school, and they would play, like, Luther Vandross, or they would...
I grew up in Salisbury, so I would hear Froggy 99.9 on the bus instead of OC 104.
Froggy 99.9, that's true. My bus driver, Mr. Manor, would play Shut Up! Rest in peace, Mr. Manor. He used to play all that stuff, man. You know what I mean? I still remember him going outside, man, and this lady's dog was being attacked by another dog, and he took the table leg and beat the dog. He's like, "Go! Shut up!"
I'd like to find a way to mix together your version of the story and Brian's version of the story, because it is hilarious either way. Because it's like, all I remember is like, "Oh my God!" And they're like, "Shut up! Shut up!" Hitting him with the table leg.
Like, "Shut up! Get off!"
And then Mark Gentry had to stop the bus from rolling backwards.
Yeah, it was bad, bro. It was so bad, man. We were done. Right out there by oh man, I forget where it's off of Basket Switch Road or something.
Yeah, the opposite side of Basket Switch, because we had Miss Paula, we had Paula Turner on our side of Basket Switch.
Yeah.
We were on the 113. Well, both leads to 113, but yeah, we were on the 113 side main to the highway, and that's where we caught our bus sometimes.
Oh, man.
We had Mr. Shockley too. We had a whole bunch of people.
Oh, yeah, man. I remember Mr. Manor, man, because, like, Mr. Manor was the first bus driver I ever seen. He used to wear these tractor hats. And then one day I saw him sat there. He was, I think he was dying, man, because he was so old already. I know he drove, like, maybe 4 generations of Bankses to school. And this guy was leaking yellow stuff. You ever seen the movie Phantasm?
I can't say I have.
Oh, man, well, it's a scary movie about the tall man. And when you hit him, he had, like, when you cut him, he had yellow blood. I remember watching the bus one day, and Mr. Manor he took off his hat, and this yellow shit was just leaking down his face, man. I was like, oh, man, this guy is bleeding Gatorade, lemon flavored. So I was like, oh, man. But he was already old as hell, man, when he had to, like, help Jesus in birth or something, man. That guy was old, man.
Oh, my God. Have you been back to see the renovation at Snow Hill? It's a completely different school now.
No, man, I haven't. I'm so scared to go back there for my childhood memories with Mr. Henry, man.
Oh my God.
Oh man, scary, bro. I ran away from Snowden. I ran away as soon as I could, man.
I mean, well, he's not there. You know, Miss Purvis is the principal now.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
What happened to Miss? What was her name, man?
Stewart.
Yeah.
Nah, she retired now. Yeah, she's
okay.
retired now. But yeah, Miss Purvis is the principal at Snow Hill. I'm trying to think who else is still there.
Well, what happened to Mark Record? Did he leave too? Or?
Well, he left a while ago, and he was like principal of like St. Francis de Sales in Salisbury at one point. I'm trying to think who else is there. Yeah, I don't think anybody else that I remember is there. I think everybody's retired. Everybody's gone. Mr. Krause is gone. He retired. Lieutenant Colonel Harrington died.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying to really think who else is there. I don't know. Mr. Vanderveen's still there anymore. Yeah,
Ronnie Smith is Ronnie. What's it, Mr. Smith? Ronnie
Mr.
Smith,
Wilson.
though? Well, Ronnie Wilson.
I think he's retired. I think he might be retired. I have to see. I saw him at a Christmas party. He was like, I remember I had you for science class in like 97, 98. Because he's when you're a teacher, it's like all those years, everything starts running together. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think anybody. Oh, Coach Hall. Coach Hall's there.
Really? He's still there, man?
Yeah, he was coaching. Man. Yeah. He was coaching softball and all that stuff there.
That guy was always in shape, man.
Still looks the same. Like, the picture of Dorian Gray, I bet there's some photo. He just probably gave his soul up for eternal youth. He still looks the same. Because when I went to Miller's funeral, Big Chris Waters, he's like, man, everybody looks old. He's the only one that doesn't look old. He's like, he must have black in him. I seriously don't remember who else. Everybody else is gone. I don't remember. It was like a faint memory before because I hadn't been back there a while because I hardly got to cover Snow Hill stuff when I was reporting. But yeah, it's such a drastic change. I mean, it looks just like Pocomo. How you remember how Pocomo had their renovation. It's basically a carbon copy of it because they were the exact same school beforehand and now they look the same again.
Wow, yeah, and I haven't been back to the high school in a while, man. Once I got away, man, I ran away, man. I ran all the way down here, man. I wish I would have ran to the opposite side to California or something, but I came down here. I did it backwards, man. Oh, man. Florida's great, but not as cracked up as everybody thinks it is.
No, I know, because they're that Florida Man website where you hear all the weird stuff that happens there all the time.
Man, yeah, man, I've experienced a lot of stuff down here, man, with all the hurricanes. Like I was down here when Irma happened, and it was, oh my God, man. I had to end up driving to Tennessee. I went all the way out to Chattanooga because I had to escape the hurricane, Irma. And where I lived at, the eye was right over Fort Myers, Lehigh. And then, I was like, man, we got to get out of here, man. So we ended up evacuating. I drove all the way to Chattanooga, Tennessee. And then when you're driving up, it was like seeing the apocalypse, man. There was people on the side of the roads. They were fighting over gas. It was like, oh, my God, man. It was like seeing, it was like, oh, my God, man. It was scary, man. I was like, oh, crap, man. Like, I said, this was a bad idea. Maybe we should have just stayed in and try to, muscle it out. But then when we were driving back down, you could see all the damage, man. It was, scary. When I got back to my house, I lived all the way in the back of Lehigh, and you couldn't even get to my house because it was a river. And you see cars submerged in water. It was really scary, man. It was so scary, man. I was like, man, I thought it was either Aquaman or somebody that was upset with us land people. And he was just flooding the land of Florida again.
And name of the Submariner.
Yeah, the Submariner. Him or his brother Orm. And he was just upset with us land people. I thought us land people did something to them.
One more thing I want to talk about before we wrap this interview up. I know you were definitely into the culinary arts and cooking and things like that. I would just get an idea about your interest in it, how you got so fixated with it, and if you have a couple of favorite celebrity chefs.
Oh, yeah. I've always been a big fan of Emeril Lagasse. But I got into culinary arts, like I said. It was to make things, form, I just love food, man. Food has always been a great thing with me. Who doesn't like to eat? But the creativity, believe it or not, I'm a real great cake baker. I'm more of a baker than anything. Like, that's one of the side things I do. I design cakes. I make cakes. You know, I'm starting to do wedding cakes, man. And, you know, that's what I'm getting ready to do now, open up my own bake shop. So it's a great thing. I mean, that's how I ended up transitioning with the whole culinary thing. You know, I love to cook, but I've always been a big fan of like Multi Mario, Emerald, you know, Yan Can Cook. I grew up watching George Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
George Wilson was an old school dude, man. I used to watch, man. He cooked old school. He would say onion.
Oh, yeah. Now you got, the Louisiana guy, yeah.
Yeah. Get them onions. You know, man. And it was, you know, I love George Wilson. The Animal
I thought you were going to say Orson Welles.
Orson Welles, man.
Yeah, Orson Welles could apparently find his way to eat, man. Oh, if you ever like seen that clip from The Critic where he's talking about, he's sitting in front of the screen and he's like, he's talking about these frozen peas and he's like, you can taste the green penis. And eating raw fish sticks, it's like, man, yeah, nothing's better than Mrs. Pell's fish sticks. And he's like, it's even better than raw. Oh, goody, I have a French fry in my beard.
Yeah, no, man. I've been to a couple of food tastings and things of that, man. But my biggest thing was baking, man. I love to bake, man. I'm a great baker. I love baking cakes, man. And you end up with a mixture, and it molds into like this idea that you have in your head with things. It's funny you say that, man. I was actually gonna try out to be on like Cake Boss or Cupcake Wars, but never got a chance to go all the way through with it because you didn't think you're good enough, but. Like, I'm actually going to try again to go through it to do, like, we don't do Cake Boss anymore, but they still do Cupcake Wars. So I'm going to try out again for Cupcake Wars, and hopefully you'll see me on Cupcake Wars or something, man, because I like to do baking, man. And, I mean, I'm really good at making ganaches and fillings and things for cupcakes and baking cakes. I've got a couple of clients. I made my son his Monsters, Inc. cake with just fondant and the crispy treats, man, chocolate molding, you know, it's just fun, man. It's awesome. I'm more now into, like, you know, like, I'm still doing, like, man, I love my comedy, man. So I'm kind of scattered around everything, man, right now. Trying to figure out what's going to work, what's not going to work. But, no, man, I still do my baking. I love it, man.
I know there's this place that was in Snow Hill. They make a cake. One of the people made, like, a bucket of crab with a giant Old Bay can out of the fondant and everything, and it's like, wow, that is like super excessive cake design.
Yeah, man, it's you know, it's real basic what's done, and they got all the fancy names. Like, oh yeah, you're gonna make a chocolate ganache. You know what it is? Is you take some milk and chocolate and butter and just melt it together. That's all you're doing. That's a ganache, man. You know, or like you're doing like your buttercream icing, and then fondant, all that is you take marshmallow with a little bit of like sugar and water, and then you mix it all together, mix it all together, and then that's fondant, man. I've always found it funny, these technical terms they call these things, man. Oh, get you a bechamel sauce. What's a bechamel? Oh, it's a white sauce. It's just white, a white sauce. It's some cream, you know, or mascarpone or something like that. I don't know, man. I just think it's always funny how they try to make things more fancier than what they are.
Because if it were in American speak, it wouldn't be as fancy.
Yeah, no. See, I want to be the first, you know, guy to come up with my own restaurant, man, or whatever, and just call it how it is. But yeah, man, you know, if you want some eggs Benedict, what you gotta do is, you know, get you some eggs. You make them sunny side up, and you put some yellow hollandaise sauce on it, or whatever, man. Just come up with it and like just be like original with it. You know, you ain't gotta come up with no fancy names. It just, man, you take some sauce, you pour it on, and it's good, man. You eat it, and that's it.
Yeah, when it comes to like cooking, like I will watch a lot of the Gordon Ramsay stuff, and like I watch the videos, and like I've learned how to brown the steak better. And the biggest thing for the longest time was resting food. People never knew about resting because you let it cook inside, the internal juices cook inside, and let it cook the rest of the way through. We always learn sometimes, and maybe it's just because of a cultural thing. Like for example, you see the one Facebook signs like how they have the different types of steaks, and everybody apparently will say, you know, rare, medium well, I question you and I'll unfriend you with the well done and stuff like that. It's like, honestly, it took a friend of mine tell me this: getting well done just allows him to burn your steak.
Yeah, That's it, man. I don't know, man. Like when I get a steak, man, I'm not trying to get heart disease, so I eat myself like medium well. I have a thin pink in there. But like if you have a filet or like a nice piece of Delmonico ribeye or, you know, like dry aged, something dry aged, you know, medium to medium rare. Because it's tastier, man. You know, I've seen people eat blue rare.
I know. I saw somebody who ate their steak bloody rare. But yeah, it's like, it's same with burgers too. I mean, the only thing you worry about there is like E. coli, because that's a whole different issue. I understand why some people want it thoroughly done because they don't want to get sick. But I feel like you lose the essence and the taste and the flavor of it if it's not seasoned well and if it's not cooked at the right temperature.
Yeah, that's true. But everybody is on this health kick now, man. But it don't matter, man. Like, there's something that's always messing with us anyway, man. Like, they're putting too much fluoride in the water or whatever the case may be. You know, it's always something that's combating us, man. So it's whatever, man. You know, you eat, you indulge in moderations. You eat things in moderations. And just like with your drinking, if you drink or whatever, I don't do either. Like drink or smoke or nothing like that. But if you do everything in moderation, you should be fine, man. If you're not eating like steak every day, if you're eating a mid-rare steak every day, you know, and like, of course you're going to end up having some type of problem eventually. If that's all you're eating, your intake is that, or like just rare meat. You know, there's people, even with pork chops now, man, you know, I've always been known to cook pork all the way through.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, but there's people that's eating pork chops like medium. I had a guest the other day ask, can I get my chicken medium? A chicken breast, bro. We can't do that. You get in trouble for that, man. Like,
yeah, I saw a thing they were doing chicken sushi where they lightly torch it, and like, no, that's death. It's death. It is death. It's not fish. It is not beef. Hell, it's not even crab or shrimp. Those things should not be eaten, not fully done.
Yeah, that's true. But another thing I didn't get a chance to tell you real fast, man, I'm a big bowler. I am a really, really huge bowler, man. I am actually trying out for the PBA, man. I didn't get a chance to tell you that. I threw my first 300 game like 2 months ago. I've done a lot of league bowling here, and I'm really, really good bowler now, man. And that's something I wish in high school we had. Because I was self-taught in bowling, learning how to read the lanes and things like that. But bowling, there's no sponsors, and bowling doesn't get the recognition that it gets.
If they have men's bowling, they don't have it at UMES. They have the women's bowling team who's been really good, but they don't have a men's team.
Oh, yeah, man. Bowling is awesome. Just something about when you rolling that ball down them, hitting them pins, man, and just hitting that 1-3 and watching the pins just, like, get pushed back. It's just awesome, man. It's so mental with bowling. The bowling is the hardest thing, man. Like, you got to always adjust. Always got to adjust, and boy, when the lane breaks down, and it's just you always got to adjust, man. It's fun, though.
I know a few people who are interested in bowling, and one of my previous guests, she has this unique delivery. She's sort of like windmills and gets down on a knee and bowls, and she bowls really well with it. And it's like, I've never seen that before. It is so unusual, but it's so effective. You know, everybody has their own way. I feel like it's like a way a pitcher throws, because everybody has a funky windup and a funky delivery, but it's the effectiveness is what matters.
Oh, yeah. It's all about your release, man. It's really in your approach, like how you release and how you approach, and you got to always touch your ear when you're bowling. It's like you're shaking hands with somebody and you touching your ear at the same time. It's how you rev your ball, and it all depends on what your ball is. A lot of people, when I used to go bowling, not knowing anything about it, I thought the house balls, I'm like, how you getting your ball to curve and hook and all this stuff? And it's not the house ball. You know, you got to invest in balls, man. Like I use trackball or motif. You know, those are bowling balls that I use. Or now I just got a new quantum bias that I use. It's an all white ball, man. It's really nice, man. But it's the physics in the ball, the core, what makes the ball curve, and then how many revs you put on it. But yeah, man, bowling's awesome, man. But yeah, your approach and like how you read the lanes is all where it is, man. That's what Belmonte does, man. Belmonte, he's a two-hand bowler. I don't know if you know who that is, but he throws two-hand, and he's won like 4 PBA championships. Guy's awesome, man. He put bowling back on the map.
See, that's the only thing. I only know like Pete Weber,
Norm Duke.
I've heard of Earl Anthony as well. And I didn't know if you saw the Red Sox outfielder Mookie Betts, how he bowled a bunch of 300 games recently. He's legit, man. He was American League MVP. He is like a killer bowler.
Yeah, just like Chris Paul. He does it. He does bowling tournaments. Chris Paul from the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, Rockets, yeah.
Him, Terrell Owens. A lot of those guys do it, man. But I was like, hey, Pete Weber, every time I see him, he does the Rob Van Dam stuff. I'm telling telling you, it's like that, man. If you ever been to a league bowling night, man, and you see people bowl, man, you step up, you try to bowl, and while they're bowling, they'll like curse you out, man. It's just, it's an experience, man. It really is. I love it.
Thomas, I do appreciate you being on the show. What are some of the ways people can reach out to you? I know you're on Facebook and you're on Instagram, but do you do any other social media?
I'm on Instagram. I'm just now getting ready to get on my comedy page and everything like that with my comedy. I haven't got it built up yet. Right now, I'm just on Instagram and Facebook. But I'm going to put a link down on my Facebook if they want to get a hold of me doing my comedy site and everything through the Laughing Comedy Club, Fort Myers. You'll see me on there. Like, matter of fact, I brought my trophy. I wanted to show you. This is my donkey trophy for stand-up comedy for Laughing Comedy Club. I don't know if you see it. It's called Laughing.
Yeah, Open Mic Award.
Yeah, Open Mic Award. So I got that. But I'm going to be part of their regular routines on Wednesdays. So hopefully I'll get like a website and everything up with my bio and everything on there. But right now I'm just on Instagram and Facebook. That's it. That's all the social media I'm on right now.
I was telling this, I think with Dante or my brother Eddie, which is like with social media, I think with us being millennials, honestly, getting on Twitter isn't as big for us as it is for somebody like 10, 15 years younger than us. But I was only on it just because really for journalism, and it's a great way to disseminate news. But, you know, sometimes hearing some of the dumb stuff that people put on nowadays, just about your personal life, you don't want everything about your personal life on the internet.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, man.
Even though, you know, the government's tracking you and everything and all that stuff. But you don't want to put any extra stuff out there than you don't need to.
Yeah, that's very true, man. I was very skeptical even having Facebook and Instagram, man, because I was like, you don't want to post too much about your personal life on there and everything like that. So I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm just on those two things, man.
Yeah, I tried to not do as much, especially if I was ever in the field of looking for new jobs. But after that, I'm like, well, you lose a job and you're like, well, at this point, what do I have to lose? So,
true,
you know,
man.
but it happens. Again, I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for being on the show. And I definitely look forward to having you back again so we can talk a little more about a lot of stuff we didn't get to catch up on, like some pro wrestling and so much other stuff.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm always down, man, for you, Earl, man. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the opportunity to talk with you, man.